we have Maggie Ostara. And oh man, Maggie and I go back a ways. I don't even know how many years, but Maggie has been in this game quite a long time. There's an interview with Maggie, the transcript of which is on my interviews, marketingforhippies.com/interviews.
It's really that's from, I think it's 2010.
Yeah, it's
the Nail Your Message Telesummit. So we were talking about point of view back then.
I guess we were.
We were. I remember you did the niching spiral, which I thought was brilliant.
Amazing. Well, Maggie, over to you. Thank you so much. It's really good to see you after all these years.
I know, it's good to see you too. Glad to be here. Because I've had my own business, I have to know how all of this works, right? And how it goes. But I'm not going to talk about AI, just so you know. I think I'm going to make one reference to it later. But I kind of want to pull us back a little bit from, because we've been mostly talking about tactics, right? And I want to pull us back to give us a bigger point of view about, like, what's friggin' at stake here? Okay, why do we even do any of this? And what's in our way? And one of the things I think it's important for us to just kind of remember is that modernity is based on homogenizing us and our points of view. It's about actually erasing culture and calling consumer culture, which it's not. And so for those of us who actually are doing something that we feel is important for the upliftment and the betterment and the evolution of the world, we have to recognize that we are operating counter to these forces of homogenization that are essential for consumer culture to continue to go. Otherwise, why would you buy all the crap, right? Because we buy all that crap because we don't feel we have culture, or we're not really clear about who we are. And people have gotten incredibly isolated, very isolated during COVID in particular, but people were already isolated. And as a reaction to that, or response to that, I think there's this huge desire for realness. It's like, where's the humanity in all of this, right? How can I feel a person in something, right? Talk about friggin' AI. Like, there's no person in AI, right? You don't feel any person. You might get some information. You might have something that shows you something you had forgotten to think about, but there is no person there. There's no humanity. There's no heart. And you can see it. Like, you look at the text, there's no heart in any of that text. And what AI is good at, okay, I am saying something here about it, is the only thing AI can do is it can pull from what's already been developed by people. It doesn't generate stuff. It doesn't create. We're the creators. And we need to remember that we are the creators and that we have the ability to be doing that. And when it comes to point of view, I'm like, let's recognize that we do have in the cells of our bodies the memory, particularly depending on our backgrounds, the color of our skin, the shape of our bodies, our assigned genders, and all of that. It has been very dangerous in sort of many centuries of time to come out and be different and to speak your mind. Okay, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a person of color. So that is real, right? But we are evolving out of that. And it's like, we don't do any service to the world to reproduce homogenized whatever things that people call, knowledge. We don't do us a service by doing that. We're just feeding the machine when we do that. So I want to just encourage everybody to, like, be bold, be outrageous, say what is really in your heart. Like, yeah, of course, when you're talking about having a business, there is this piece about being able to communicate with your people and your tribe. But one of the ways that you create a tribe is by being bold and being outrageous and going out there and standing up for what you believe in. I'm biased because I think, our world's burning up and we need to kind of get real about what we're doing, if we want to have a world in 50 years, that people want to live in. So I'm biased, and that's kind of more the direction I've gone in, is how do we create points of view that actually inspire people to have agency and take action in really meaningful ways in their lives. And when we allow ourselves to participate in colonized thinking, which is where we are just replicating what we've seen some expert tell us to do, some guru to say to do it this way. Because I have plenty of people who come to me with business questions. I mean, I'm primarily a human design specialist right now and a writer working on the 8 pillars of feminine sovereignty. That's my body of work. And the reason I went in those directions is I was like, we need people to be themselves more, right? It's like, I can give people all the marketing strategies in the friggin' world. And if they're not being who they are, how's anybody gonna get a feel for them, right? I used to talk about the flavor of you, it's like, what's your flavor? Come on, I want to taste it. Like, bring it out here. Show us who you are, right? And don't be afraid of it being, but it doesn't fit with, this mark. I'm not talking about you, Tad, because you're cool. But it doesn't fit with this marketing thing that I heard in this class. The more people I have come to me with trauma from marketing, like programs, right? They probably flock to Tad's membership thing because, people are really like squelched, and they a lot of times have been told to get rid of their individuality in their marketing, which is like 180 degrees opposite from what you should do, right? It's like you want to be there, but you also want to be human. You want to be human, be a human, And that means different things to different people. For some people, it's like, make sure that when you're writing what you're writing or you're shooting your videos or whatever, you're coming from your heart. Like, you're coming from a deep sense of you being connected to the core and the essence of who you are, because that is going to shape the words that you use, the tone of voice that you use, the body language that you have, and it's all going to transmit to people. And so you want to attract the people who like your outrageousness, one of the things I finally got was I do great on YouTube. I have a thriving YouTube channel. I actually don't market hardly at all anymore, because I just put out my point of view about human design on YouTube, and the people who like it come and find me and work with me, and the people who don't like it go away. It's awesome, right? Like, when you get a platform and you get to really show up as who you are, then people will find you and they'll be attracted to you. Now, there's obviously a lot more tactics to all of that, and some other guys are better at that than I am these days. I also want to just recommend something to you. I don't know if you know this book, Tad. Do you know this book, Snow Leopard, by the Category Pirates? This is a freaking awesome book. Okay, highly recommended. It's called Snow Leopard: How Legendary Writers Create a Category of One by the Category Pirates. And the thing that for one thing, they break down different types of knowledge and different types of knowledge that you can use. And a lot of what we've been talking about and what AI does is it helps you to curate other people's knowledge. Okay, you bring together other knowledge that other people have already created and you curate it, or you respond against it, which was what George was saying, right? As you position yourself against it. What the Category Pirates are saying is, well, you kind of position yourself against it, but what you do is you create a new category that evolves the whole conversation, right? So that we're moving into, all of a sudden, we're in a new, almost like a new dimension, a whole new space, because you've created a new category. Now, one of the best examples of this, which some of you may remember, I don't know how long you've been in this world, but Eben Pagen, in his first stuff, right, he created the category. Literally, there was no category before he did it of dating advice for men. He created that category. And then he went around saying, we're the #1 brand in the category of dating advice for men. And he established the category. He established himself as the expert in that field. There wasn't anybody else in that field, right? And then he had that field. So one thing for you to think of is, what's a category you can create, right? And it could be in response to something else. Like my work in feminine sovereignty is a response to and an evolution of this idea of individual sovereignty, which has gotten a lot more purchase in recent years, but is only partial, right? There's a whole bunch of other things that we need to create in order to be the stewards that we can have of our world, so that we can help heal our world. Like individual sovereignty is not going to get us there. But feminine sovereignty, the way that I define it in the category I'm creating, does that. So for you, what category can you create, which is, talk about point of view, right? Category creation is like the pinnacle of point of view. And you don't have to start out with the big thing all at once. If that's kind of like, holy smokes, I'm not even sure what she's talking about. Get category, Snow Leopard by Category Pirates for one thing. Thank you, Tad, for putting it in there. But the other thing is just to realize, and I know I'm coming up on my time here, is just really own the value of what it is that you think and where you're coming from, and how the intuitive insights that you have are something that can save our world. I did a whole series on intuition and human design, and the very first one is why intuition will save us. Because it's not going to come from AI, and it's not going to come from science. It's going to come from those of us who are tapping in and really getting a bigger perspective. And every single one of you can do that. And every one of you has a role. It's just for you to really own it and claim it and express it and do it. And the right people will love you and find you and follow you and buy from you and work with you. Okay.
Thank you so much. I wanted to read this quote from Simone Grace Seal, that's her name, from Instagram. She said, "Where do I find clients? Where are they? Where do I find the unfiltered, uncensored, unedited, unapologetic, unmasked, imperfect, multidimensional you? Where are you?" Yeah, people come to her asking that question. And she's like, what do you mean? Where do you find your clients? Where do I find you? I can't seem to even locate you and your opinions and who you are and your personality. And I would agree with Maggie. Boy, isn't this the case? I've seen it so many times. People go into some marketing boot camp, a very unique person, and they come out cookie cutter and templated. And they've killed the very thing that was their long-term ticket. There's a short-term bump because it's recognizable and they're using some tactics. But I suppose this is the thing, the reason I read Ross's piece at the beginning. There's so many shiny tactics. I mean, yeah, I know AI is big. I do get that. There'll be other things. There'll be other iterations. There's going to be some new thing all the time, and people want to lean on those things. But ultimately, what people find over and over again is it was never the tactic. You know, it was always going back to this human something, going deeper. Yeah, Maggie, go ahead.
Can I make a comment about that? So one of the things that they go over in this, which I find really helpful, is just like I said, the different categories of knowledge. And one of the things they do say is, look, curating knowledge is faster. Like, you will be able to make money right away. Like, actually, one of the reasons that I created my human design practice and my YouTube channel first was I knew people were searching for human design. And so I went, okay, nobody's searching for feminine sovereignty because I haven't created the category yet, but they're searching for human design. So I knew that was a faster way for me to build my reputation in that field and to make money while I'm building my own individual category. So it's not like one is better than the other, right? Necessarily. It's more about what you want to do. And knowing that, yeah, curating content, you can make money. Like, you can go out and interview 10 thought leaders on a topic and put together, you know, a $97 project from that. Like, you can do that in a week or two.